Giannis Antetokounmpo helped propel the Milwaukee Bucks over the Los Angeles Clippers of a score of 106 to 105, while he also dropped 54 points, 19 rebounds, 2 assists on 21 of 39 shooting. And I'm here to talk a little bit about this performance, but the main thing I want to talk about is why the Clippers lost this game, because they were up at 21 at one point, and in typical Clipper fashion, they blew the lead and lost the game. So without further ado, man, let's get straight into this video. But before we get into it, I would like to remind you guys, if you enjoy this video in any type of way, make sure you hit it with that like. And if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe to the Buck Discussions podcast, the YouTube channel, because we're always dropping weekly basketball content, and that is just what we do, man. But without further ado, let's get straight into this performance by Giannis Antetokounmpo and this choke job by the Los Angeles Clippers. But like I mentioned, Giannis Antetokounmpo had his third 50-point game in the last 11 games he's played, with 54 points, 19 rebounds, 2 assists on 21 of 39 shooting, and he did this all in 36 minutes. So that just goes to show you how great of a player Giannis Antetokounmpo really is, because you take a look at the rest of his team from last night's performance, and it was pretty much Giannis Antetokounmpo versus the Los Angeles Clippers, because you had players like Pat Connaughton with 8 points, Brook Lopez with 6, Grayson Allen with 4, Drew Holiday with 12. You also had Joe Ingles with 3, and you also had Chris Middleton with 16 points, who's been dealing with a little bit of an injury himself, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, you just take a look at the Clippers versus the Bucks, and it was pretty much a one-man performance versus the whole Los Angeles Clippers team, right? Because the Los Angeles Clippers points were pretty much spread out between their whole lineup, pretty much, you know what I'm saying? Because you had Kawhi Leonard with 17 points, Marcus Morris with 16, Zubac with 12, Paul George with 16, you had Terrence Mann with 8 points, and then our leading scorer on the Los Angeles Clippers was Norman Powell with 26 points and 31 minutes. So Norman Powell has really been a flamethrower for my Los Angeles Clippers, and I'm really happy to see him continue to be in his groove. But it was not a good game to lose, I will say that, because I probably didn't mention this, but the Clippers were up at 21 at one point in this game. I think it was in the third quarter, I want to say. I mean, they were up by 20 pretty early on in the game too, like in the first quarter, because the Bucks just got off to a real slow start, and the Clippers took advantage of that, right? But they obviously could not take advantage of that later down the line, and this is why they lost this game by 1 point. And I will say, both these teams didn't shoot bad from the field particularly, but I will say 41% from the Los Angeles Clippers, and you had 43% for the Milwaukee Bucks. But I will say, man, the way that the Clippers were playing defense, at least for the first 3 quarters, were pretty decent, right? And then you see Giannis Antetokounmpo dropped 20 of his 54 points in the fourth quarter to propel the Milwaukee Bucks over the Los Angeles Clippers in just a complete embarrassing fashion. But I mean, again, it is the Los Angeles Clippers, so this is kind of nothing new to us, right? But I mean, it's very disappointing to see the Clippers have only beat teams over 500 8 times this season, and we've had a decent amount of chances to, you know, beat these other decent teams, especially in the Eastern Conference. Because I want to say back in December we were playing the Philadelphia 76ers. We were up at 20 in that game, ended up losing that game, and then just last night playing the Milwaukee Bucks, we were up by 21. That was the highest score we led by, and of course they managed to blow the lead. But I will say, man, it just was not a good night for players like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, you know what I'm saying? And in Kawhi's defense, he's averaged, I want to say, 29 points in his last 11 games, so it's kind of hard to harp on him too much, but he did shoot 7 of 26 from the field. Obviously, it isn't really the ideal performance you would want to see from your main guys in Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, but it is only one game, so I can't really harp on him too much, because when these guys have been on the court this season, which is very rare, you know what I'm saying? It's not often. They have been pretty decent, you know what I'm saying? Like, I hate to resort back to that Celtics game, but when these guys were actually on the court playing at the same time, which, like I said earlier, is not often, they know how to win games against decent teams. And last night was just an unfortunate, you know, series of events where they blew a 21-point lead. But like I said, man, as a Los Angeles Clippers fan, this is nothing new, so it's kind of just like another day, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, I do definitely think it is very, you know, underwhelming that Kawhi Leonard shot 7 of 26. Paul George shot 6 of 16. You know what I'm saying? And the main guy, Norman Powell, didn't really get any shots, any looks down the stretch the last 2 to 3 minutes of the fourth quarter, which was just mind-boggling to me because, like I mentioned earlier, he was literally the Clippers' leading scorer, 26 points, shot 9 to 16 from the field, 56% from the field in general, and then he shot 50% from the three. So it's kind of like, why would you guys not get the ball to the... I mean, I understand at the end of games you want to get the ball to the best, players on your team, but you also want to feed the hot hand, and Norman Powell isn't no slouch. He's literally the third best player on our team, so why the fuck would you guys not put it in the man who's making all the shots right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to harp on Kawhi too much because he has been really, really like outrageous in the time he's been playing this season. So I can't really just be mad at Kawhi because he shot 7 to 26 in one game when he's balled out the last like 12 or 13 games. You know what I'm saying? But everyone else, it's just like, come on, man. And I will say, as a Clippers fan, our guys definitely have to hold themselves accountable and just, just hold themselves accountable. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about that. Like, you guys have to hold yourselves accountable and actually take the correct, looks down the stretch, because there's no reason we should just be resorting to straight up ISO ball. Like, get some screens, get the ball moving a little bit, try to get better shots for everyone around you. Like, there's no reason just because you're Kawhi Leonard or Paul George, let's take on the whole fucking team to try to get this. But like, no, that's not how it should work. It's basketball, it's a team sport. And like I said, I understand that you want to get the ball to the best player on your team, but sometimes that isn't always the case, because like I just said, 7 to 26, that's not an ideal performance from a guy like Kawhi Leonard. And I would have rather seen the ball in someone else's hands like Norman Powell, who had 26 points. So, it is what it is. It's just unfortunate that we seen the Clippers miss like the last 8 shots they took between Paul George and Kawhi Leonard in the last like 2 to 3 minutes of the game. It's just, at that point, I was just like, you know what? We don't even deserve to win it. The Bucks, you guys can have this dub. It is what it is. These guys don't win it as bad as y'all, or at least I should say as bad as Giannis Antetokounmpo, because that man went ape shit on us, and I can't even really hate, because like I said, the Clippers just they bring this shit on themselves. They bring this shit on themselves. You know what I'm saying? Blowing all these 21-point leads and shit like that. So yeah, man, it's just, I mean, it's not really much to take away from this game for the Los Angeles Clippers side. They just have to be better, and I definitely do think a trade is coming soon for this team, and if it doesn't, I will be highly, highly shocked, because Reggie Jackson is not a starting caliber point guard for a team trying to win a championship. I mean, it's that simple, and he hasn't been starting. It's been Terrence Mann, but still, if you're not going to play Terrence Mann in the fourth quarter at all, when he has a plus minus of 21, it's like, what are you doing, Tyronn? What are you doing? What the hell are you smoking back there in the locker room, man? Because I might fuck around and need me some, because all the bullshit you've been putting us Clippers fans through, you know what I'm saying? But that's besides the point. I ain't trying to get, too hot into this, but all I'm saying is a couple of the reasons the Clippers lost this game. Execution is definitely one of them. I will say the defense down the stretch was looking a little suspicious, you know what I'm saying? Even though, I don't know, bro, the defense in the first half was holding up. That's why we was up by 21 at one point, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were doing their thing defensively for the first 3 quarters of the game, but then here comes the fourth quarter where you guys aren't knocking down shots, nor are you guys really playing any type of defense. So it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? But all in all, I will say it was a good game, you know what I'm saying? Taking away my bias from being a Clippers fan, man, it was a good-ass game. If you did not watch this game, I definitely recommend going to watch this game if you can, man. Just going back on the NBA app or shit, just go watch the highlights, the condensed version, something like that, because this game did not disappoint at all, man. It was definitely a good one. And yeah, man, another masterclass for that man Giannis Antetokounmpo with 54 points, and he also had he had 4 offensive rebounds on top of his 15 defensive rebounds. So hey, man, you can't really hate on that at all. And he did shoot 25% from the 3, but he hit a big one late in the fourth quarter to, I want to say it was either tie the game or put them up by 1. I could be wrong. But either way, man, you got another masterclass performance from that man Giannis Antetokounmpo himself with another 50-point performance this season. I think that's his 3rd in the last 11 games, like I said earlier. And hey, man, there's really not much I could say as a Clippers fan. I can't really, hate on him too much. I love Giannis. He's a real, likable dude. A great player, you know what I'm saying, and he hustles, so I respect that the most out of everything. So shout out to Giannis. But, you know, as my Clippers, man, we got to do better. You know what I'm saying? We got to do better, especially if we want to be championship contenders, which personally I do not see ourselves as championship contenders as of Friday, February 3rd, man, 2023. I'm sorry, I can't. I wouldn't put no money on us to win a championship. You got me fucked up. You know what I'm saying? If you think I'm going to put some money on us, hell no. Hell no. This team has no dog in them. I'm sorry. I love my Clippers, but we don't have no dog in them, man. It's sad, man. But, yeah, man, that pretty much does wrap up this performance from Giannis Antetokounmpo, man. Yeah, my Clippers got to turn it around. They got to do better. But, yeah, man. Until next time, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and peace. We out.
In the jungle like I'm Conan, kind of with both hands. Switch the flow like it was broken. I'm on the road, man. Making plays just like DeRozan. I shoot my shot, and that shit wetter than the ocean. I brag a lot, but with the wind and come the boasting. I made a lot from them apartments that I sold, and he ain't make it up to college. So them streets where he enrolled in. I know I'm a scholar from the moments that I was exposed in.